Hello. This video is what I believe a battle against the atheists. There is a soul. Trying to say that there is a soul. The soul exists. Your soul exists and it's eternal. Now, if you believe that, then you'll have to believe in God too, and then that kills atheism. If anybody ever argues with me on that point, then I will make a video about it. But the whole thing about the soul. My definition of an atheist is part of it is you don't believe in a soul. And I say, of course, there's a soul. I've made this exact video before, but I didn't label it Battle Against the Atheists. So, now, I believe there's a soul because we are, we come from another place. We actually live in another place, a higher dimension. There is such thing as a higher dimension. I guess this video could also be like scientific proof of the soul, the science behind it, behind something existing in the other plane, the higher dimension. Scientists have proven this with their, CERN, the spinning the atoms around the 20-kilometer circumference donut under the mountains of Switzerland. They even got halfway through making one in Texas, but they crashed the atoms together, and then the atoms split apart, and they spin around, and and on these different configurations, and kind of illustrating a lattice work of something on the higher dimension. And then we have the double slit experiment with the uncertainty principle, where things as large as how big are they? Little carbon balls turn into waves if you shoot them through, go into a higher dimension. So basically, the world we live in now is just the real world, the real existence, frozen. So your body, we look around and we look at the buildings and the trees and our bodies, and it's like looking at snowflakes. But everybody in this world knows that snowflakes come from water. So snowflakes can't exist without water. They're just frozen water. So we're frozen. We're frozen energy. And we even have that proven with the whole atom. Everybody knows that we're all space anyway, and all we are, chemically, is just interactions of different atoms creating molecules that create certain compounds that create what we are, and it's all just magnetically held together, but we're all just empty. Like if my fist is in the center of a football stadium, the outer edges of the football stadium would be where the electron is, and that's just one atom, and then all the atoms are all not overlapping each other, so we're all just empty. It's just energy. And then if you go into the atom, I think at Stanford they did the test where they could find even the little quarks buzzing in and out of existence, disappearing here and then appearing here at another place, teleporting 22 zeros after one in a second. And I mean, even as far as like teleportation of people's souls, you can feel their soul as they're talking to you on their phone, as it gets bladdered up into different waves and then comes to you and you talk to you. So anyways, then it comes to this whole thing is like torsion fields. Like we don't even have gravity explained, but we obviously know that it exists, and it's something that comes from out there. So that's basically where our souls come from. Then you could also do all of the tests about reincarnation, all the little stories of people who actually remember their past lives. All you have to do is study it, and you'll see that it's obvious. People telling stories, and then getting the stories right. There's books. I haven't read them, though. I should read one. but I've heard interviews on Coast to Coast about it. So if you believe in any of that, you'd have to believe that your soul exists, and if your soul exists, it has to be eternal. We all know that energy is eternal. It just changes form. Some people go, oh yeah, well, yeah, the energy of your soul would turn form into something else that isn't your soul, but energy, it wouldn't turn form into an inanimate object. It would change form, but it would remain animate. And another atheist actually wrote me and goes on one of my videos and goes, you know what, I would love for there to be a soul, but I don't have any proof of it, so I'm not going to believe it. And another reason to believe that there's a soul is if you want it to happen, then it exists. And that has to be true, because everything in this world that we have now exists because we want it to be. We have cars because somebody wanted a car, so they made it. It's simple. It's so simple. I don't know why atheists don't get it. You want a plane, so you make a plane. So you want to have a soul, well, you have a soul. You exist forever. Everything exists forever, so you exist forever. And so anyways, if you believe that there's this higher dimension out there, which you have to believe because it's proven, that's where you come from. And if life pops up out of nowhere, it comes from this higher dimension. There have been studies. I don't have them collected, but I will collect them on my website. And I believe them too, because of where life just pops up. Our scientists today don't know where life comes from. They go, oh, maybe there was some divine spark like 1,000,000 years ago and whatever. It's the same thing about gravity. They admit they don't know where it comes from. Well, it comes from everywhere, all the time. It comes from that higher dimension, and it just freezes itself into this lower dimension and lives. I mentioned in the other video I made where they did the guy who discovered DNA, shot the laser beam in space or whatever and saw that the signature of DNA all over space. I got all this information from David Wilcock, and I will want to go in there and look at where he found it. He's really good at finding this kind of stuff. But there's also life shows up out of nowhere, and I'm sure we've all experienced this, where if you leave something alone, like a totally sterile thing, it always grows mold, and it always grows stuff, and you're like, where the fuck did that come from? Mold growing, and it was totally sterile. Well, mold came from nowhere. There was that higher dimensional energy which came into this world and created the mold out of the elements and created the DNA. DNA can be created, just like if you can think of, oh man, I'm gonna run out of time. Maybe I should just make this 2 videos. No, I'll make it the next video. I'll make it the science video. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna make a video right after this video which will explain the science. But your soul, there's abundant evidence that life just pops up here, and that divine spark comes. And where does it come from? Well, if we know that stuff in this world comes from something, and we know where it comes from, like we make certain chemical compounds because we take this ingredient and that ingredient, or we make cars from taking this metal and that metal, and you put it together. Same thing with snowflakes. And then we have cymatics. Certain vibrations make certain shapes. As a matter of fact, the Om that the Buddhists sing, their Om painting that they paint, it has a certain, it's like a upside down triangle, and then a right side up triangle superimposed, kind of like the Star of David, and then maybe something else. I can't remember exactly what it looks like, but it's always called the Om. Well, if you do cymatics and you do that Om sound on sand on paper, it'll create that exact shape. So it's the vibration. If you look at This goes into cymatics, and I've done a video on this already. But if you look at a galaxy, it looks exactly like some sand would look if you do certain vibrations. It swirls around and swirls and swirls and swirls around. So you know that there's a vibration out there. You just can't see, and that's where we come from. Why would you think that that's not enough proof? Anyways, so that's it.